Do you ever feel like, what's the purpose of my life? I mean, maybe you're in a great job, maybe you have a great family, maybe you're doing the things you always thought you wanted to do with your life, but you're still just wondering, what's the point? What's the purpose? I'm feeling very unfulfilled. And I know, I read in the Bible and I hear from other people that I should be living in the abundant life. I should be fulfilled. So why am I not experiencing that? Something must be off. I can relate to those thoughts, and I want to share with you a couple of things that I've learned and that can be helpful in really discovering what's your purpose. So this idea, these different things I'm going to talk about come from a YouTube mentor, somebody that we get a ton of information from on YouTube and can't seem to get enough of their content, right? One of those types of people. And this is Myron Golden. What he talks about is that in order to live from a place of success and really to live from a place of an abundant life, you have to live from a place of your true identity. And that's a struggle because we don't really know what our true identity is, right? That's a question that is among so many people, and it's a very deep question in our heart. The first thing that he talks about is that we have given to us a lie identity, and that comes from the enemy, right? Like that comes from just evil thoughts coming at us of like, you're not good enough. I mean, it could come from a person's mouth saying like, you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough, you don't sing well, you don't dance well, you don't, whatever it may be, you don't do that good enough. And that's your lie identity. You can choose to accept that. And a lot of people do. Oh, I guess I'm not very good. I guess I'm not enough. I had an experience when I was young in high school where I was dating a guy and we were at a concert type thing. I think it was like a conference that we went to, and there was this music going on, and I just decided to sing at the top of my lungs. It was awesome, right? It was a great experience, a great worship experience. And I remember him pulling me aside after that evening and saying, you should never do that ever again. That was horrible. Your voice is horrible. And I was just, I believed it. He was a special person to me, and I took those words on like, oh, I guess I'm not a good singer. Music had been a passion of mine. I had grown up with playing instruments and loving to sing, but in that moment I took on the lie identity that I'm not good enough for this. And it paralyzed me for a lot of years in being able to sing in front of people. That's what a lie identity does, is it lies to you about who you truly are, because we're made with incredible giftings. We're made in the image of God. He's given us strengths, and the enemy is constantly coming after those, saying you're not those things. And sadly, we just take that on. The next part of this is called a my identity. And the my identity is really what we do to try and prove the lie identity wrong, but it's still not our identity. So what the my identity is that you take on something and you force yourself into it, but it's not what God intends for your life. It's not your call. It's not your passion. It's not your gifting. After that experience of, hearing that from someone special to me in that time, I poured myself more into music, and I took on this my identity, like I'm a musician. I am an instrumentalist specifically, and I tried to prove myself in that way because I was trying to prove his words wrong. Like, I am good at music. I took on that identity of, okay, maybe I'm not a good singer, but I am a really good pianist. And that propelled me on to go to college and to earn a degree, even in music. And years later, I realized that I took that my identity and tried to make myself into something that, was a part of my life, but it wasn't it shouldn't have been the passion of my life, like God was telling me in those times. The final thing is the actual identity. Those are the things where we search deep for them. we really take the time, we go into our journals, we go into our prayer times with the Lord to really learn, who am I? Like, Lord, show me who you have created me to be. Because we're given the choice to go after whatever we want to go after. But here's a little secret, in case you don't know it. There is really only one identity for us, and it's what God has established for us. You know, the Bible talks about how he wrote a book about each and every one of us before we were even born. Like, he knew what his plans were for us before we were even born. That's our job, to find out, to seek out our identity according to what God had established and what he has written for us. We can go on and do whatever we want to do in life, but if we want to keep on feeling like, what's my purpose? What am I here for? Why do I feel so unfulfilled, even if I have a lot of success in something? Then, you know, if we don't want that in our life, then we need to passionately pursue and seek after, why has God put me here? Because he is the creator of everything. He holds everything together. In the book of Colossians, either the first or the third chapter, I don't have it right here, but it talks about how he is in all things, he is before all things were created for him, and all these different things. So he is the author of everything. There's another scripture that says he's the author and finisher of our faith. In him is our true identity. And so until we actually go to him, when we go to his word, when we cultivate that relationship with the Lord to find out our identity, that's the only way that our true purpose can come from. So when I heard these things, you know, that there's a lie identity, and then we can take on a my identity, but the true fulfillment comes in God's identity for us. That was encouraging to me. I think about that regularly. I hope it encourages you too, because God has an identity for you to walk out that is unlike anybody else's. You have an assignment from the kingdom of heaven to rule on this world in a certain area. Like, God has made you a king over that assignment, but it's only through learning what your true identity is that you can walk that out and be fulfilled. I hope that this blesses you today, and that you will take those steps to search out what your true identity from God is, so that you can walk in a life of purpose and fulfillment.